3 gunshots shattered the stillness of a May night, leaving Scott Olston, a revered naval veteran, lifeless on his bedroom floor, his skull pierced by a .32 auto's brutal precision. His wife, Angela Mora, dialed 911, her voice chillingly calm, weaving a tale of an intruder who slipped through an unlocked door. Yet no weapon lay near Scott's body, his tactical gear a silent witness to a meticulously staged murder. Angela, a former dispatcher, hid the pistol in a kitchen laundry machine, her eyes on a $750,000 insurance payout to escape financial ruin. Their son, Willock, heard the fatal shot and a cryptic phone call, secrets Angela urged him to bury. Why would a wife betray her husband with such cold calculation? As Washtenaw County reels from this true crime horror, the chilling mystery of Angela's deception and Scott's stolen life will grip you, demanding answers to a motive shrouded in greed and lies, with a child's reluctant truth threatening to unravel it all. The clink of ice in a glass echoed through the Olston home, where Scott Olston, 60, poured another vodka and energy drink, his third of the night. As chief security officer at the Michigan Theater in Washtenaw County, Michigan, Scott was a naval veteran whose steady presence reassured colleagues. Off-duty, his life unraveled. A gambling addiction drained his savings, and his heavy drinking, 3 to 4 drinks daily, had pushed his marriage to Angela Mora to the brink, their recent separation a raw wound. Their son, Willock, often caught the sharp edge of their arguments over casino losses, yet Scott's love for him remained a quiet anchor. Angela, a former security service dispatcher, navigated the fallout with a practiced calm, her 15 years of handling emergencies lending her resilience. The couple's home, once a haven, now hummed with tension. Scott's tactical gear, holster, knife, flashlight, scattered like relics of his discipline. Angela's dependence on Scott's income grew desperate as his gambling debts mounted, her jobless status a silent pressure. She began eyeing his $750,000 life insurance policy, where she was the sole beneficiary, a seed of betrayal taking root. Washtenaw County's suburban calm masked its undercurrents of financial strain, a backdrop to the Olstons' crumbling marriage. Scott, despite his struggles, patrolled the theater with pride, his badge a symbol of duty. Angela, meanwhile, maintained a facade of reconciliation, urging Scott to cut back on drinking while privately tallying his debts. Willock, caught in the crossfire, retreated to his room, his mother's assurances ringing hollow. A neighbor, overhearing their latest spat, sensed trouble, but stayed silent, unaware of the danger brewing. One evening, Angela suggested a family movie night, a rare attempt at normalcy. Scott, weary but hopeful, agreed, unaware of her growing calculations. The .32 auto pistol, usually in his holster, lay in a drawer, its presence a quiet threat. Angela's gaze lingered on it, her mind turning to the insurance payout. As Scott sipped his drink, oblivious, Angela's decision to stay in the marriage took on a darker hue, her financial desperation sharpening into a plan. The night ended with Scott asleep, the house quiet but charged with unease. Angela's choice to remain, to feign devotion, set her on a path toward a chilling act. Willock, sensing the shift, lay awake, the weight of his parents' discord pressing in. Scott, a hero undone by his demons, stood on the edge of a betrayal that would shatter his family. His trust in Angela, a fatal blind spot. A tense hush enveloped the Olston bedroom, the air thick with the residue of unspoken grievances. Angela Mora, her face a mask of concern, folded laundry, her eyes darting to the drawer where Scott Olston's .32 auto pistol rested. Scott, sprawled on the bed, nursed a vodka and energy drink, his gambling debts a heavy shadow. Their marriage, frayed by his casino binges and drinking, teetered on collapse, the separation only recently paused. Willock, their son, lingered in the doorway, his unease palpable, sensing the storm beneath his mother's calm. The Michigan Theater, where Scott served as chief security officer, felt worlds away from this domestic unease. His tactical gear, holster, knife, hung on a chair, a reminder of his duty. But at home, he was a man adrift. Angela, jobless since leaving her dispatcher role, leaned on Scott's dwindling income, her frustration mounting as his gambling drained their future. The $750,000 life insurance policy, naming her as beneficiary, loomed in her thoughts, a dangerous temptation. A neighbor's casual remark about Scott's late-night casino trips had stung Angela, her smile tight as she deflected. Tensions flared when Scott mentioned cutting expenses, oblivious to Angela's financial panic. "We'll figure it out," she said, her voice steady, but her mind raced. Willock, overhearing, caught a phone call where Angela whispered, "I'll fix this for good," her tone chilling. His father's drinking, once a private shame, now fueled public fights, Washtenaw County's gossip mill churning. Angela's dispatcher instincts, calm under pressure, masked her growing resolve, the pistol's weight a constant in her calculations. The night grew heavy as Scott, dulled by alcohol, stumbled to bed. Angela, feigning care, suggested he rest, her hand brushing the drawer. Willock, unable to sleep, felt the house's silence turn oppressive, his mother's assurances, "Everything's fine," ringing false. A faint creak of the floorboard as Angela checked the alarm hinted at her vigilance, her intruder story already forming. The community, unaware, saw the Olstons as flawed but enduring, blind to the murder taking shape. Angela's final act that night was to leave the front door unlocked, a calculated step in her plan. Scott, lost in a haze, trusted her care, unaware of the 3 shots that would soon end him. Willock, sensing a shift, clutched his pillow, the phone call's echo haunting him. The bedroom, a space of fractured bonds, stood poised for a betrayal that would rock Washtenaw County. Angela's greed, a silent force driving her toward a fatal deception. The faint hum of a ceiling fan stirred the stale air in the Olston bedroom, where Scott Olston lay dozing, his breath heavy with vodka. Angela Mora, her movements deliberate, hovered near the bedside drawer, the .32 auto pistol within a silent promise of escape from financial ruin. Their marriage, scarred by Scott's gambling addiction and relentless drinking, had become a battlefield, each argument over casino debts driving Angela closer to a desperate act. Willock, their son, lingered in the hall, his stomach knotted by the memory of Angela's chilling phone call, vowing to fix our problems for good. A new figure entered the fray, Marla Evans, a theater co-worker of Scott's, who had noticed his distracted demeanor at the Michigan Theater. Marla, a box office clerk, had overheard Scott confide about his crumbling marriage, his voice heavy with regret. She sensed trouble, but kept her distance, unaware her observation would later aid investigators. Angela, meanwhile, maintained her facade, urging Scott to sleep off his drinks, her dispatcher-trained calm masking a growing resolve. Washtenaw County's quiet streets, lined with blooming dogwoods, belied the storm brewing in the Olston home. The tension peaked as Scott mumbled about selling assets to cover debts, oblivious to Angela's panic. Her dependence on his income, severed by his gambling losses, had pushed her to eye the $750,000 life insurance policy, her name as beneficiary a beacon of salvation. Willock, catching Angela's glance at the drawer, felt a chill, his mother's earlier words echoing. Marla's casual text to Scott checking in went unanswered, a missed chance to intervene. Angela's lies took shape, an unlocked door, a disabled alarm, her plan to stage a suicide coalescing with each step. Scott's tactical gear, strewn across a chair, stood as a stark contrast to his vulnerability. Angela's hand brushed the pistol, her heart racing as she envisioned the 3 shots that would end her husband's life. Willock, retreating to his room, heard the floor creak, Angela's movements too precise for a routine night. The neighborhood, lulled by suburban calm, missed the subtle signs of impending murder. Angela's final act was to leave the alarm off, a calculated detail to support her intruder tale, her greed now a sharpened blade. As Scott sank deeper into sleep, Angela stood at the precipice, her decision irrevocable. Willock, unable to shake his unease, clutched his blanket, The phone calls wait a silent alarm. The bedroom, once a sanctuary, now pulsed with the inevitability of betrayal. Angela's plan to shatter her family for financial gain poised to erupt, leaving Scott defenseless against the horror about to unfold. A deafening trio of gunshots ripped through the Olston bedroom, the air acrid with gunpowder. Scott Olston, chief security officer at the Michigan Theater, lay crumpled on the floor, 3.32 auto bullets lodged in his skull, his life extinguished in an instant. Angela Mora, his wife, stood over him, her face a mask of cold precision, the pistol still warm in her hand. Moments earlier, she had crept to the drawer, her dispatcher instincts guiding her as she fired with ruthless intent, staging a suicide to mask her murder. The shots, though muffled, reverberated, a brutal end to a marriage undone by Scott's gambling and drinking. Willock, jolted awake, froze as Angela whispered, "Go back to sleep," her voice unnervingly calm. She hid the pistol in a thermocool laundry machine in the kitchen, wrapped in a towel. Her plan to claim an intruder hinged on the missing weapon. Scott's tactical gear, holster, knife, flashlight, lay scattered, a haunting reminder of his naval veteran pride, now irrelevant. Angela dialed 911, her voice steady, claiming she found Scott dead, the front door unlocked, the alarm off. First responders arrived, their boots heavy on the hardwood, stunned by the scene's calm. A patrol officer noted Scott's unnatural arm position, a clue to staging and the absence of the gun, despite a shell casing glinting nearby. Willock, trembling, stayed silent, his mother's warning echoing, though his memory of the 3 shots burned vivid. A neighbor, roused by the commotion, recalled Angela's recent complaints about Scott's debts, a detail later vital to investigators. The Washtenaw County Police, led by Detective Handy Wright, secured the scene, the lack of forced entry clashing with Angela's intruder story. Angela's composure unnerved the officers, and her dispatcher experience was evident in her measured responses. She claimed she slept through the shots, a lie that strained belief given the bedroom's confines. The community, waking to police lights, whispered of Scott's struggles, unaware of the family betrayal at play. Forensic techs collected the casing and Scott's knife, potential evidence in a case already tilting toward foul play. Angela's quick disposal of the gun, tucked in the laundry machine, showed her foresight, but a faint towel fiber on her sleeve hinted at her haste. The night settled into chaos, the Tri-State Task Force on standby as Wright's team began unraveling Angela's deception. Scott's murder, a stark loss of a community hero, left Willock grappling with his mother's actions, his silence a fragile shield. The bedroom, now a crime scene, held the weight of a meticulously planned killing. Angela's greed-driven act setting the stage for a relentless investigation that would expose her lies. Police tape fluttered across the Olston doorstep, sealing off the bedroom where Scott Olston met his brutal end. Detective Handy Wright, a relentless Washtenaw County investigator with a reputation for cracking deception, stood amid the crime scene's chaos, his gaze fixed on Scott's tactical gear, holster, knife, flashlight, now evidence of a life stolen. The 3.32 auto gunshots that killed the Michigan Theater security chief left no room for doubt. This was no suicide. Wright's drive, fueled by a past case where a killer slipped free, anchored his resolve to deliver justice for Scott, a naval veteran undone by betrayal. First responders' notes pointed to Angela Mora's unnerving calm during her 911 call, her claim of an intruder clashing with the locked reality of the scene. Willock, Scott's son, sat with a social worker, his eyes downcast, haunted by the 3 muffled shots and Angela's order to sleep. Wright, sensing the boy's burden, gently pressed, coaxing a revelation. Willock overheard Angela's phone call, whispering about fixing problems, a clue that sharpened suspicions. The absence of the pistol, coupled with Scott's awkward arm position, screamed staging, and a shell casing's placement hinted at a calculated cover-up. Early forensics bolstered the murder investigation. A towel fiber on Angela's sleeve, unnoticed by her, suggested she'd handled the weapon. Marla Evans, Scott's co-worker at the theater, shared his confessions of gambling debts and marital strife, painting Angela as desperate. Wright's team scoured the house, their search rewarded in the kitchen. The .32 auto pistol, wrapped in a towel, lay hidden in a thermocool laundry machine, Angela's dispatcher precision evident in its concealment. The Tri-State Task Force, alerted for a potential fugitive, shifted focus as evidence pointed to Angela's guilt. Angela's behavior post-crime fueled scrutiny. She lingered at the scene, offering rehearsed grief, her story of an unlocked door and disabled alarm unraveling. A neighbor's Nest camera, reviewed by Wright, showed no overnight activity, debunking her intruder tale. Willock's reluctant admission of the phone call, paired with his gunshot memory, ruled out suicide. Washtenaw County buzzed with shock, Scott's colleagues mourning a hero lost to family betrayal. Wright, clutching the pistol's case, sensed a financial motive, Angela's jobless status and Scott's halted allowance a looming shadow, setting the stage for a confrontation that would crack her facade. A grainy Nest camera feed flickered on Detective Handy Wright's laptop, its timestamp proving no intruder breached the Olston home. The murder investigation into Scott Olston's death, 3.32 auto shots to the skull, tightened around Angela Mora, whose calculated lies began to fray. Wright, poring over the thermocool laundry machine's contents, confirmed the pistol's link to the crime, its towel wrapping bearing Angela's DNA. The Washtenaw County detective, driven by Scott's naval veteran honor, zeroed in on Angela's motive, her financial desperation a beacon in the case's fog. Marla Evans, Scott's theater co-worker, emerged as a key figure, her statement revealing Angela's bitterness over Scott's gambling losses. Marla recalled Angela's icy demeanor at a theater event, her complaints about Scott's debts hinting at a deeper grudge. Wright's team dug into Angela's past, uncovering her 15-year dispatcher career, a skill set that explained her calm 911 call. A new lead surfaced, a bank record showing Scott's halted allowance, leaving Angela jobless and strapped. The $750,000 life insurance policy, naming her sole beneficiary, crystallized her motive. Greed masked as survival, a chilling family betrayal. Willock's testimony, extracted through Wright's patient probing, was damning. The boy's memory of Angela's phone call, fixing problems for good, paired with the 3 gunshots he heard, shattered her alibi. A forensic analyst confirmed the pistol's bullets matched Scott's wounds, ruling out external involvement. Angela's post-crime actions, lingering at the scene, feigning shock, clashed with her dispatcher-honed composure, a red flag Wright couldn't ignore. The community, reeling from Scott's loss, whispered of Angela's odd calm, their trust in her eroding as the investigation gained traction. A setback tested Wright's resolve. A delay in processing the towel's DNA slowed the case, forcing a tactical shift. Marla's tip about Angela's recent insurance inquiries, buried in a policy update, reignited momentum. Willock, now with relatives, shared Scott's fear of Angela's temper, a detail tying her to the murder's planning. The Tri-State Task Force, monitoring Angela's movements, noted her attempt to access Scott's accounts, a bold move betraying her intent. Wright, standing over the pistol's evidence bag, saw the net closing, Angela's carefully woven deception unraveling under the weight of a child's truth and a hidden weapons discovery. The Michigan Theater's marquee dimmed in tribute to Scott Olston, its chief security officer, whose murder left Washtenaw County grappling with loss. Detective Handy Wright faced mounting hurdles in the investigation, the towel's DNA results stalled by lab backlogs. Angela Mora, Scott's wife, remained free on bond, her composed exterior a taunt to justice. Wright, haunted by Scott's naval veteran legacy, pushed forward, his team sifting through Angela's financial records, her desperation for the $750,000 insurance payout a clear motive in a case of ruthless family betrayal. Marla Evans, Scott's co-worker, took to local news, her tearful plea for answers keeping the case alive. Her stories of Scott's kindness, checking theater exits, mentoring staff, painted a hero undone by greed. Willock, now with his aunt, struggled under the weight of his testimony, his recollection of the 3 gunshots and Angela's phone call a burden he carried silently. Wright, meeting with Willock, noted his fear of Angela, a clue to her coercive hold. The community rallied, a fundraiser for Willock's future drawing hundreds, Scott's memory a unifying force amid the investigation's uncertainty. Angela's current life, living with a sister, avoiding scrutiny, drew suspicion. Her attempt to access Scott's insurance policy, flagged by a bank alert, confirmed her intent to profit from murder. Jurisdictional delays frustrated Wright, the tri-state task force unable to act without a warrant. A minor figure, a theater janitor named Carl Ruiz, added a layer. He recalled Angela's odd visit to Scott's office, asking about his benefits, a detail Wright filed away. The Nest camera's evidence, unassailable, kept Angela in the crosshairs, her intruder lie exposed. Hope flickered with a new lead, a voicemail Angela left for an insurance agent, inquiring about payouts, recovered from a deleted server. Marla's advocacy, paired with Willock's courage, pressed the police forward, Scott's tactical gear a poignant reminder of his sacrifice. Wright, standing at the crime scene, felt the case teetering on resolution, Angela's calm facade cracking as the community's grief fueled a relentless pursuit of justice for a man whose life ended in a hail of 3 bullets. A lone street lamp cast a faint glow over the Olston home, its bedroom floor still bearing the invisible scars of Scott Olston's murder. The 3.32 auto gunshots that ended the naval veteran's life marked a betrayal that shook Washtenaw County, a community mourning a hero lost to Angela Mora's greed. Scott, a chief security officer whose vigilance defined the Michigan theater, was undone by a wife's calculated deception, her staged suicide unraveling through a child's truth and forensic precision. Detective Handy Wright, reflecting on the case, saw Scott's humanity in his scattered gear, holster, knife, a testament to a life of duty. Angela, arrested after the pistol's discovery in the thermocool laundry machine, pleaded guilty to manslaughter and obstruction, her scream of, "I was protecting my family," a hollow defense. Sentenced to 35 to 40 years, plus 1 to 2 for obstruction, she sat in Washtenaw County Jail, her $750,000 insurance scheme thwarted. Yet her phone call's cryptic words lingered, a loose thread hinting at deeper motives, perhaps a hidden debt or fear, left unanswered. Marla Evans, Scott's co-worker, led tributes, a theater plaque honoring his service. Willock, raised by his aunt, carried Scott's warmth, his testimony a painful gift to justice. The community, scarred, grappled with broader truths, financial strain's toll, the fragility of trust. Angela's dispatcher skills, once a strength, became her downfall, her calm facade no match for the Nest camera and Willock's revelations. Carl Ruiz, the janitor, spoke at a vigil, his small role amplifying the case's reach. The murder's legacy reshaped Washtenaw County, sparking calls for mental health support to curb desperation-driven crimes. Scott's loss, a wound felt deeply, left Willock to navigate a future without parents, his father's knife now in evidence, a symbol of sacrifice. Angela's fate, sealed by her own hand, offered partial closure, the insurance policy's lure, a cautionary tale. As dusk fell, the Olston home stood silent, its unlocked door a haunting reminder of a deception that shattered a family, leaving echoes of a hero's life and a community's unresolved grief. Like, share, and subscribe for more chilling true crime stories, and don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss a twist.